Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to my video, Jack and Bills. For this episode, we will look at the Chinese Renminbi. The Renminbi is the official currency of the People's Republic of China. You can call it the Renminbi or the Yuan. The key difference is, Renminbi is the name of the currency, and it directly translates to the money of the people, whereas the Yuan refers to the primary unit. So these are Renminbis. This one is the 5 Yuan, this one is the 50 Yuan, and so on. Got it? Great! Let's move on. The current exchange rate as of when this video was created is $1 to 6.95 Yuan. Now let's take a look at my collection. Here we have the 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, and the 100 Yuan. Banknotes go through changes all the time, sometimes for redesigns and sometimes for added security features. The Renminbi collection I have is the 5th series, the one currently circulated in China. Within the 5th series, there are 3 editions depending on what year they were issued. The first edition was issued in 1999, second edition in 2005, and the third and current edition in 2015 and 2019. There are slight differences in the design and security features, but they look very similar overall. So real quick, the 1 Yuan I have is the first edition, the 5, 20, and 50 Yuan are second editions, and the 10 and 100 Yuan are third editions. Alright, now let's go over some of the common features on the front and back before we look at the bills individually. And here's the front. At first glance, they do come in different colors and in different sizes. In terms of sizes, they are all different in terms of length and some with different widths. Basically, the bigger the amount, the bigger the size. So the 1 Yuan is the smallest and the 100 Yuan is the biggest. More money, more surface area. You will also notice that there's only one portrait for all the bills. In previous series, they had other people's portraits printed on the note, but for the 5th series, you only have the portrait of Mao Zedong, the founding father of the People's Republic of China, and here's the time of when he lived, from 1893 to 1976. One of the main reasons for only having Mao Zedong's portrait is simply because he is the most recognizable figure inside and outside of China, so just by looking at the banknote, you will know it's from China. All of the bills have the same template, where you have this horizontal design that runs across the entire bill, and you have a wider one that runs vertical over here. Then there's also a background design around Mao. They all have their own unique intricate designs, and if you look very closely, you just might find some fun features, like these little RMBs and the Yuan amount hiding in the background over here. On the top left corner over here, we have the national emblem of the People's Republic of China. Next to that, we have the People's Bank of China in Chinese characters printed here. And you can actually feel the print of the emblem and the characters, making the bill a little bit more three-dimensional. Underneath that, we have the amount in large Arabic numbers. For the first and second edition, there is a fill design inside, whereas the third edition, you get this shiny design. Below that, you have the amount again in written financial Chinese characters. Underneath that, you'll see a flower. Each bill has a unique flower, so I'll go over those when we look at the bills individually. Over here, we have the anti-copy design, and on the bottom left corner, we have the serial number. On the top right corner, we have the amount in Arabic numbers, and if you have the third edition, the numbers are rotated to the left. If you look here, you'll notice the security seal. All the bills except for my 1 Yuan has a security seal, and I wonder if that's because my 1 Yuan is the first edition, or if it's because they didn't bother with the 1 Yuan since it's not worth much and no one wants to counterfeit it. Anyways, to see the security seal, you'll have to put it up against a light source, but you also got ones like these that are half showing, half hidden. The third edition banknotes also have this extra security seal, giving those bills 2 security seals. Moving on, the second edition does have this design under the number on the top right corner over here, and if you tilt the note a little bit, the design will reveal the amount, and if you look even closer, you'll see super micro prints. Last, on the bottom right corner, all the bills have the security feature for the visually impaired, very similar to Braille. Now let's check out the back. The most eye-catching feature is this image in the middle. So far, we've gone over the US dollar and the Thai baht on my channel. For the US dollar, they decided to put various buildings in the back, and for the Thai baht, we get a history lesson about the 10 Chakri kings. For the Renminbi, we get to see a variety of attractions, from natural sceneries to important buildings, because China is a huge country with many things to see. Maybe the intent was that every time you look at the Renminbi, you'll be tempted to visit the attractions, and therefore spending the Renminbi, which goes back into the Chinese economy. Also, keep in mind that there are previous series that used different images, such as the world famous Great Wall, and they didn't want to reuse some of these places. There's so many places to spend your money in China, they can't just fit all of them in 6 bills. Alright, let's keep going. There are Arabic numbers located on the corners, and here we can also see some slight differences between the different editions. For the first and second edition, the number on the top left has a fill design in the center, but not for the third edition. Same with the number on the top right, which is rotated to the left. Once again, fill design for the first and second edition, no fill for the third. The third edition does have this design on the bottom right though, where half the number is in the front and the other half is in the back. As for the number on the bottom left, they have slightly different fill designs, but here's what I want to show you guys. If you zoom in super close, you'll find micro prints of the amount, except for the 1 yuan. On the top right, we have the People's Bank of China again, but this time in 5 different written languages: Mandarin Pinyin, Mongolian, Tibetan, Uyghur, and the Zhuang language. Because even though China is mostly inhabited by Han Chinese, there are a total of 56 ethnic groups. There are a lot of local dialects and different written languages as well. The Renminbi just wants to showcase how China is actually very diverse. Having the pinyin over here also makes it easier for English speakers to pronounce the People's Bank of China, which I have absolutely no idea why they want English speakers to read that. They do have the yuan here though, so you just need to learn how to pronounce numbers in Mandarin and you'll be a pro at spending money in China. Also, this is why if you're an English-only speaker, you should watch my videos so you know what the hell is on these bills, and this way you won't go around China yelling at the People's Bank of China for no good reason. On the bottom right over here, you have the year it was issued, another indicator of what edition the bill is. Next to the year, you have a traditional stamp, and this stamp belongs to the president of the bank to make it look even more legit. Last, on the bottom of the note over here, you'll see the super micro prints indicating the currency amount and the renminbi in written Chinese. Alright, now we can finally go over the bills individually. First up, we got the 1 yuan. The color is kind of orangey, yellowish, green. For the unique flower design, we have the orchid. The watermark for the 1 yuan is also the orchid, so double orchid, buy one get one free. Now let's find the microprints, and honestly, finding microprints is probably my favorite thing to do when checking out banknotes because it's hard to notice with the naked eye, so it feels like I'm discovering some kind of secret features. Anyways, the first set is hidden here inside the 1 between these 2 Chinese characters, showing 1 RMB. The only other set I found was in this design over here, which I mentioned earlier. Now let's look at the back. The image here is the 3 pools mirroring the moon at the famous Westlake in Hangzhou. China has a lot of UNESCO World Heritage sites, and Westlake is the only lake heritage site in all of China. Westlake has been continuously visited by poets, writers, and artists since the beginning of China, so it's been a very famous lake throughout Chinese history. Nowadays, aside from the lake itself, there are tons of other attractions built by the lake, and you should definitely go check it out if you're ever in Hangzhou. Next, we have the purple 5 yuan with an orange background. For the flower design and watermark, we get the narcissus. We also start to get the yuan amount in the watermark as well. As for the micro prints, I was able to find 3 sets. The first 2 sets I found are in the same location as the 1 yuan, here inside the 5 in between the 2 Chinese characters and in this design on the top right corner. The third set is over here in the half circle design. You'll see 5 RMB close to the middle and a bunch of 5s on the outside. Let's go to the back now. Before we talk about the scenic image, I just wanted to point out this 5 RMB design in the background here. I only found this feature on 2 of these banknotes. Anyways, for the 5 yuan, we get Mount Tai. There are tons of mountains in China, so why Mount Tai? What's so special about Mount Tai? There are 5 famous mountains in China known as the 5 Great Mountains of China, and they are arranged according to the 5 cardinal directions: north, south, east, west, and the center. Mount Tai is the eastern Great Mountain, and it's referred as the first of the 5 mountains because the sun rises on the east, so it's associated with birth and renewal. It is the most sacred mountain in China, with tons of ceremonies held up there, attracting emperors over the last 3,000 years, and also attracting millions of tourists every year. Moving on to the blue 10 yuan, with the rose as the flower and the watermark as well. You do see the number 10 here once again, but surprise! There are no microprints here. What a troll! The only microprints I found are here in this long ribbon design. For the back design, we get the 3 gorges of the Yangtze River, the longest river in China, also known as the Posts of China. I did say 3 gorges, so why do we only see 1? The Yangtze 3 Gorges refers to the Chutang, Wu, and Xilin Gorge, all located within the same vicinity, all with spectacular views. The Yangtze River flows from the west to the east, so if you were to, let's say, take a cruise down the Yangtze River, which you can and many people do, you'll encounter the Chutang Gorge first, then the Wu Gorge, and lastly the Xilin Gorge. The one you see on the banknote is the Chutang Gorge. Now let's go over to the orange 20 yuan with this neat looking design that reminds me of Chinese face paintings, and you can say these over here are eyes. For the flower and watermark, we get the lotus. For the microprint, once again, it's in this top right design and also on the bottom of the note right here below Mao. The microprints actually run all the way into the back, and the 20 yuan was the only note I found with this feature. Now let's talk about the image, which is the majestic scenery of Guilin, one of the most popular scenic tourist attractions in southern China. Guilin is known for the karst mountains with the majestic Li River flowing through it. To top it off, there's this very important fisherman because he's the only person other than Mao that is printed on the 5th series Renminbi. Somebody please identify this man and give him a medal. Alright, now the green 50 yuan. For the flower design, we get the chrysanthemum, but for the watermark, we get Mao's portrait instead. I wonder why they didn't keep the watermarks consistent with the flowers, which is killing my OCD, just killing me. For the microprints, we are heading back inside this 50 in between the Chinese characters, which will show 50 RMB. And if we look closely at this design again, we will not find anything. Yo, what the f? They are just messing with us now. Anyways, I was able to find 2 sets, one over here, and the other one inside these triangle designs. For the tourist attraction design, we get the Potala Palace, which is located in Lhasa, Tibet. It is currently the highest palace in the world in terms of elevation, sitting pretty at over 12,000 feet. The Potala Palace was originally built as a gesture of love from one of the Tibetan king to a Chinese princess, but when the monks came to rule Tibet, the palace was expanded and converted into the winter residence of the Dalai Lama. When the Dalai Lama was exiled to India in 1959, the palace was then converted to a museum by the Chinese government. Last, we have the red 100 yuan. For the flower, we get the Prunus mume, or the plum blossom, which is actually the national flower of China. Once again, we have Mao's portrait for the watermark, and for the microprint, we go back inside the number here, and there's another set inside the circular design that runs all the way across the bill. Oh, you also got these phoenixes inside these circles. Here in the back, remember this feature with the RMB and the amount? The 100 and the 5 yuan were the only bills I found this feature on. Now for the main image, we have the Great Hall of the People, a government building in Beijing used for legislative and ceremonial activities by the government of the People's Republic of China and the ruling Communist Party of China. The 100 yuan gets the government building, maybe because the government has the most power, just like the 100 yuan having the most buying power over all the other notes. Anyways, even though it is an official government building, it is open to the public, but of course, there is an entrance fee. You can pay the entrance fee with the 100 yuan, so you can go into the building using a bill that features the very building you're going into. And there you have it folks, the Chinese Renminbi. It was definitely very fun checking out the intricate designs and trying to find as many microprints as possible. Also, having the images of different sceneries in the back really makes me want to visit China so I can spend these Renminbis. Once again, I did not go through every single little detail, so if you know of any other fun facts or features, please leave it in the comment section below so we can all enjoy them. Alright, thank you guys for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys next time!